Kubb, how to play. To learn how to set up the game, check out this video. The object of the game is to win the match by knocking over all your opponent's kubbs and then the king legally in a single turn. You knock over kubbs by throwing batons. All games start with the 2, 4, 6 open, meaning the first team throws 2 batons, then the second team throws 4 batons, and then both teams throw all 6 batons each turn for the remainder of the game. Batons must be thrown underhand from behind the baseline and within the sidelines. The baton does not have to rotate, but if it does, it must rotate end over end vertically. It may not rotate horizontally like a helicopter. If it does, the throw is invalid and forfeited. If the baton orients horizontally slightly, it is okay, so long as it isn't oriented more than 45 degrees. Only one baton may be thrown at a time. Once a team has thrown all their batons for the turn, if the king still stands, then the next team takes their turn. On your turn, the first thing you do is gather up all the kubbs on your side of the field that your opponent knocked over. Then, standing behind your baseline and within the sidelines, you must throw all those kubbs underhand onto your opponent's side of the field, one at a time. These are called field kubbs. It is okay for a thrown kubb to hit a standing or laying field kubb. Once all the field kubbs have been thrown, your opponent raises the field kubbs vertical, wherever they are, including any that were knocked over or moved, by tilting the kubb onto either of its bases. Your opponent must always tilt a kubb up in bounds when possible. They may not twist a kubb when raising it, and a kubb that has 50% or more of its base inside the center of the boundary line is considered in bounds. If your opponent is unable to raise any field kubbs in bounds, that is, within the boundary lines of their team's side of the field, then before they raise any kubbs, your team re-throws the out-of-bound kubbs. After re-throwing all those kubbs, if any field kubbs are still unable to be raised in bounds, then they are re-thrown again. Unless those kubbs have already been thrown twice this turn, then those kubbs become punishment kubbs. Your opponent collects all punishment kubbs and places them anywhere on their side of the field they desire, so long as the kubbs are at least 1 baton distance away from the king and field marking stakes. If a kubb lands on or is resting against another kubb, resolve its raising from the top down, raising the kubb on the very top of the pile before the one underneath it. If both ends of a kubb are obstructed and the defender cannot raise another kubb to clear the obstruction, then the defender must raise the kubb as close to either obstruction as possible. After your opponent has legally raised all the kubbs, your team must now throw the batons to knock over all the field kubbs before they can knock over any base kubbs. If a base kubb is toppled while there is still a field kubb standing, then that base kubb is returned to its position. Once you have knocked over all the field and base kubbs, you are then allowed to knock over the king. If the king is knocked over before this, whether from a baton or kubb throw, then the throwing team loses the game. It is legal for one baton to knock over multiple kubbs. Once you have thrown all your batons, your turn ends. If you fail to knock over every field kubb on your turn, then the opposing team gets an advantage line across the field from the standing kubb that is closest to the center line. During their next turn, they are allowed to throw all their batons from behind this line instead of the baseline. However, field kubb throws and baton throws at the king are still thrown from behind the baseline. The first team to knock over the king wins the game. A match is determined by the winner of a best of 3. Thanks for watching. Don't own Kubb? Check out the link in the description for where to buy it.